Now we could talk about some of the best players in the NBA and some of the most marketable players in today's game. But I feel like having an all-time season right now, Nikola Jokic, is not being talked about enough. But scratch that. Is it time to start talking about Nikola Jokic as one of the best offensive players of all time? Before we get into it, please hit the subscribe button. Get us to 1,000 subs. Thank you. Yeah, so Nikola Jokic, genuinely one of the best players I've ever seen play basketball, and I've seen prime Stephen Curry play basketball. I've seen Kobe Bryant play basketball. I've seen LeBron goddamn James play basketball. But what Nikola Jokic is currently doing on a basketball court in terms of peaks, it rivals the best of the best of the best. He is trying to push into that top 10 tier all time. He just needs a couple more trips. But if you're talking about an individual player, let's start by talking about this season. So right now, Nikola Jokic is averaging 31 points, 13 rebounds, and just about 10 assists, nearly just below 10 assists. But he's pretty much averaging a triple-double while putting up the most in his team, while putting up significantly more than the rest of his team. And he's showing us how the NBA has evolved into a game of freaks and monsters. I look at Nikola Jokic and I say, previously, centers weren't doing this. We looked at a player like a Larry Bird, a player that could dish the rock despite being like 6'9" tall, playing the power forward. But now we have a 6'11" player averaging 10 assists in our league at the center position. He's a post ball handler. What he does is absolutely emphatic. He comes up with the big plays. He's the best player to have come from outside of, I can't say that because Giannis is there still. Between Giannis and Jokic, is the best player to come out from outside the United States. Yeah, is that fair? Is that fair? Born down in the dead man's down. Hakeem Olajuwon? I guess Hakeem has the chips. I'm gonna put Nikola Jokic above Hakeem. When we talk about this season, we talk about a player that's been able to dish the rock, been able to get involved with a player like Russell Westbrook, who is a ball handler essentially, and they have a really good two-man game. I mean, Jamal Murray's not been as good this season, but Nikola Jokic and Russell Westbrook's two-man game has been emphatic. And despite having a stretch where Aaron Gordon was out of the lineup due to injury, they're still the 4th seed right now. And you can win MVP from the 4th seed. Obviously, right now, I think Shea is probably, just because of his team's standing, is just about the MVP right now. I don't know how the Thunder are going to continue winning. They probably will, knowing me. But I think Nikola Jokic is giving him a good run for his money right now. So let's talk about the rest of the season. I think one thing that we always talk about with Nikola Jokic that I have to bring up, once again, advanced stats. Using Basketball Index. If we look at Basketball Index, they have a range of different statistics and analytics and different things that they use to prove a player's efficiency and prove a player's productivity as well. So when we look at his shooting talent, he's shooting fantastically, shooting 50% from 3 right now, absolutely insane. Like, this is a player that is around a 32-33% mark consistently, but he's shooting 50% right now because he's only shooting shots that he needs to. And to be fair, at the beginning of the season, the Nuggets weren't a good 3-point shooting team, except him. He's been good catch and shoot. His gravity is insane. He's truly been offensively fantastic. But I want to draw ourselves to one stat in particular. LeBron, our glorious king. But not that LeBron. LeBron stands for Luck Adjusted Player Estimate using a box prior regularized on off. Did you catch that? Essentially what it is, it values the overall impact for a player. We often use PER to measure that, which obviously Nikola Jokic kills every single year. But LeBron accounts more defensive statistics as well, and it captures players' impact per 100 possessions. It adjusts for luck, it adjusts for productivity, it adjusts for outcome, luck, like player roles, it adjusts for the rest of the team, small samples, large samples. It adjusts for all of that. It's a statistic I don't want to go into. I didn't make it, but it's a pretty well-reputed statistic in today's age, especially by Basketball Index. Speaking of Basketball Index, their $5 thing is sick. Not an ad, by the way. Not an ad, by the way. But this season so far, he is second in the league which is obviously 100% percentile because there's been like 500 players in the league this season. He's 100 percentile, second best in the league in terms of his LeBron. Obviously, you'd be thinking, oh, why is he not the best? You've come here talking about the best. I always talk about the best when it comes to offense with Nikola Jokic, because defensively, he's not the best in the league. In terms of old LeBron, which just takes into account offensive LeBron stats, he's the best in the league. And I don't think there's anyone comes close. So if we look at his multi-year old LeBron, his multi-year offensive LeBron gives you across several years what his offensive LeBron is compared to the rest of the league. And he's number one beyond everybody else as well. And I think it's a testament to just how good he is. Obviously, we know that the LeBron and the old LeBron, the D LeBron and the LeBron War aren't statistics that are 100% accurate, but you look at his PER, you look at his value over replacement player, we look at all these stats in conjunction with each other, and we might just say Nikola Jokic is the best offensive player ever. We look at some of the greatest scorers ever, a player like Michael Jordan, a player like Wilt Chamberlain. They put up extraordinary numbers. Adjust that for the time, adjust that for the players he has playing with them, and adjust that for the total impact on winning that they have. They still don't reach Nikola Jokic's level. In terms of PER, I said this 2 years ago, I'm going to say it now. In terms of PER, which is what we want to look at because it takes into account more offense than defense. If we look at our top 10, there are 5 active players. We've got Kevin Durant at 10, we've got Giannis at 8, we've got Anthony Davis at 4, LeBron at 3, and Nikola Jokic is number 1, ahead of Michael Jordan, ahead of Shaquille O'Neal, ahead of Wilt Chamberlain, ahead of Bob Pettit, ahead of even, I don't know, engines like Magic Johnson. Now, it's not a perfect statistic. You've got Karl Anthony Towns in 16th, but looking at it holistically, the entire view of things, the fact that Nikola Jokic, in a mainly offensively based statistic, is above a player like LeBron James, like Michael Jordan, that tells you just how good he is. Now, I'm not calling him the GOAT. I'm not even saying he's a top 10 player ever. But I think we have to open our eyes to look and see what is Nikola Jokic. Because for me, he might just be the greatest offensive player of all time. Don't forget to subscribe. Boom.